Welcome back, you stinking nerds, to episode 11. Two captains, one pod.
Kind of pod we're in, you decide.
Tell us. Now, we have, we're now combining seasons to get through Next Generation, and we're combining seasons for Deep Space Nine, even Voyager, to kind of get through. We can get to some of the more current stuff, um, kind of rush through Enterprise, get to the other stuff, get on to the movies, 2009 to next one was what, 12, something like that. Anyway, we're combining seasons 4 and 5, and one of the things we have to talk about, one of the things we want to show you today, if you are watching on the YouTube channel, is the memorial placed at Wolf 359. Because again, end of season 3, beginning of season 4, the two-parter episode that left everybody wondering what the hell was going to happen for an entire summer, and sets up most of what happens for the rest of the show
Mm-hmm.
in that way. Um,
More or less, anyhow.
yeah. Um, and really sets up who Picard is, even returning to Picard the series that happens later on, and some of the things that he's played with sets up in this episode, in those two episodes. So it's very big topic to kind of gloss over it like we did last episode. Kind of fucked up. So we're gonna fix that this episode. We're gonna get into Wolf 359. What happens, because it even sets up Deep Space Nine and Captain Cisco, or Commander Cisco at that point in time,
Mm-hmm.
and who his character is, and why he has such a grudge against Picard when he first meets him, or the handoff between Next Gen and Deep Space. And then on top of that, a lot of the fun stuff we've got planned for you guys. You guys know I love to go through, I love to find articles and just berate them as best as possible. This one is from WhatCulture.com by Sean Ferrick. Star Trek
Sean
Every
Ferrick out
Star.
of Tech Culture. God damn, I love that guy.
Okay, so we're dealing with someone you know. So this is someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yes, no, he very much so knows what the hell we're talking about.
Okay,
He,
I'm
he,
good for that. I'm
like,
great. That makes me feel better.
I don't know if you've seen any of Trek Culture stuff on YouTube, but
I have not, no.
no, he's good. He knows his stuff.
That's good. That's good. So,
I don't
yeah,
necessarily
Sean
agree with
Ferrick,
all of it, but he does know his stuff.
and it's every Starfleet uniform ranked worst to best, and there are 85 of these guys, so we got a lot to get through. First and foremost, let's start off Wolf 359, Locutus Borg. Picard is taken by the Borg and assimilated. He becomes Locutus. And with his knowledge of Starfleet and the way the ships work and stuff like that, the Borg get the upper hand and destroy almost every ship that's foot at 359, taking on the gigantic Borg. Um, Cisco loses on Deep Space Nine. I'm gonna go ahead and cover the Deep Space Nine part two, just because I feel like if we're gonna talk about this, we should do it now. So
Right.
that when we get into Deep Space, it's just more about the show. Um, so Deep Space Nine, first couple minutes of Deep Space Nine, you see Cisco's on the bridge of his ship. They're there at Wolf 359. Locutus of Borg is on the view screen, telling them they will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. And we learned that Cisco is the first officer of the ship there, and the captain gets killed. He is now in command. Uh, they are given the order to abandon ship because his ship gets destroyed, and his wife, who's also on the ship, unfortunately dies aboard that ship. Now, one of the real cool things this game has done, and personally probably my favorite, for such an important episode that sets up so much of Star Trek for season 3, season 4, Next Gen. So it's it's very important. So I love that online has done this. This is the memorial slash museum slash graveyard of ships that were able to be taken from Wolf 35. And they're overseen by the USS Hood. The USS Hood is the only one that's still functional over here.
Well, and for those of you who have played this game for as long as I have, this definitely did not used to be here. It used to be just a debris field with a memorial hologram thing.
Right. And you can still see the memorial hologram when you're outside of the system. It appears in space. Once you go into the system, they have this now. And so USS Hood is an Excelsior class starship. You have, I think, 2 Excelsior classes here, but one of my favorites, and I think the coolest ship in this graveyard, right over here, the TS Republic. TS stands for training ship. Now, for those of you diehards, you'll remember the Republic name as the ship that both Dr. McCoy and James T. Kirk served upon before they were transferred to the Enterprise. And it is the only Constitution refit class that was at Wolf 359.
Mm-hmm. Which even in the episode, you could, even in that episode, you can see a Constitution class refit. That would be the one you're looking at.
Yeah. Some other notable names: the USS Chekhov, a Melbourne class?
I don't know.
No. I don't. Oh, I don't know what class it is, but we have the USS Chekhov, named for, of course, Pavel. There are 2 ships here with the name Melbourne: the PCU Melbourne, and then the USS Melbourne. But yeah, this is the graveyard of the ships they were able to recover from Wolf 35. You can see every class of Enterprise here, all the way up to the D, because here's an Ambassador class I'm flying over. You have the Constitution refit class and the Excelsior class. So 4 representations of the Enterprise. You come through, you look, you'll see a Stargazer class, which I know they're not actually the Stargazer class, but the ship that was the Stargazer. You'll see a couple of the Reliant
Constellation
style ships.
Constellation.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it has been a while since I've seen those 2 episodes and those battles. So, John, I'm gonna let you take over. What happens? What happens in the battle?
Well, to kind of give you a little preface, Stardate 43989.1, the Enterprise D arrived at Jure 4 about 12 hours after losing contact with the New Providence colony. Once they arrived, they found that the surface of the planet was completely destroyed. After that, they suspected that it could be the Borg, which the Enterprise had previously encountered at System J25. Admiral Hansen and Lieutenant Commander Shelby were then delivered to the USS Enterprise by the USS Hood, I believe.
I think so, yeah. That sounds right.
Mm-hmm. Now, they began immediate preparations once they confirmed that it was the Borg because of the magnetic resonance traces they found in the soil on Jure 4. So Starfleet immediately began prepping their stuff like, we gotta kick these guys in the balls. Otherwise, we're gonna get kicked in the balls.
Right.
Shortly later, the USS Lalo departed Zeta Alpha 2, and then at 22:12 hours, Starbase 157 received a signal from the Lalo. reporting an object of cube-shaped. And then they lost contact with them. The Enterprise then set course for the Lalo's last known location, encountering the cube, the Borg cube. Enterprise then engaged the Borg cube for a while, and they were kind of starting to get their asses kicked, so the Enterprise set course for the I don't remember the name of the nebula, but it was a Mutara class nebula. The Enterprise then hid in the Mutara nebula for, well, not the Mutara nebula, but that particular nebula for several hours. Until the Borg started firing magnometric guided charges. Picard ordered the ship out of hiding, and Borg started to attack. They beamed onto the ship. They kidnapped Picard. Not a good day. Immediately after kidnapping Picard, Borg set an immediate course for Sector 001. The Enterprise catching up to the cube, and they sent an away team led by Lieutenant Commander Shelby to grab Picard so that they could attack the Borg cube with the deflector dish of the Enterprise. As soon as they got through. As they were looking for Picard, they found him. He was assimilated. The away team reported back to the Enterprise to tell him what was going on, tell him, hey, he's been turned into a Borg. And after that, the classic line is delivered. I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile. And then, at the very end of the episode, Commander Riker gives the order to fire on the Borg cube with the deflector dish. And that's just the preface up to the battle.
Right. Oh, and also I want to add here, for you guys that have not played the game, are getting into the game because of this podcast, welcome to the game, for one. Two, there is an instance where you can play as a ship in the Battle of Wolf 3. It's a lot of fun, but everyone knows how it ends. You're not one of the ships that will say that.
Right.
I keep trying to hopefully get one of the ships out, but I never do. I'm always dead.
Yeah, every time.
But
So
right,
starting in, right? Pretty close, almost there.
Okay, yeah.
So of course the cube easily shrugs off the Enterprise's attack because, well, they've assimilated Picard, and Picard was briefed on that plan to use the deflector dish to damage the cube and kick its ass.
Right.
So,
as we all know, the Borg are very, very quick to
adapt.
Right. Almost about to say assimilate, but no, that wasn't the right word.
I mean, yeah, they are quick to do that too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, they're very quick to adapt. We all know that. That is what makes the Borg such a formidable enemy that has spanned so long in that. Still see them.
After shrugging off the attack, the cube proceeds to Sector 001. The Enterprise, however, she's a little messed up. She suffered extensive damage to her deflector array and her warp core. Admiral Hansen and Starfleet Command contact the Klingon Empire and the Romulan Empire. Well, they didn't. They thought about contacting the Romulans. They did not, I don't think. It's kind of ambiguous whether they did or not. The Klingon Empire sent warships And they assembled a fleet of 40 ships, most of which I think are here.
Oh, okay.
And then they were going
Yeah.
to assemble at Wolf 359.
Because I think I
Now,
counted this one time. I think there's 28 ships here.
something like that. But yeah,
I think I counted it one time.
I believe you.
Here, you keep talking. I'll count the ships. It's not important, but now I want
Now you got me.
to. Yeah.
Now we arrive at the battle. So around stardate 44002.3, the cube enters the Wolf system. Locutus hailed the assembled fleet, ordering the ships therein to disarm and escort the cube into the Sol system. After that, the fleet engaged the Borg.
I was off by one. It's 29 with USS.
So yes, only 11 ships really made it out. Probably counting the USS Hood.
Right. So yeah,
Excelsior
28
class
ships.
Melbourne was like one of the first ships destroyed, with the saucer section being partially vaporized. Next after the Melbourne was the Saratoga, which is the ship that um, Benjamin Sisko was on.
Oh, did I tell you I was doing research on the Kitty Hawk name, right? To see if there were actually any stars. There
You did
was
tell me that.
one. Yeah, one of the Kitty Hawks was at Wolf 35. Just
Right.
sorry. That's a side note for you guys. That's just an inside thing for me. My normal ship, and actually, if you look at my saucer now, I've renamed this ship the Kitty Hawk, or the Kitty Hawk D. That's just my favorite name for the ships that I use on my main account. Um, my dad served aboard the USS Kitty Hawk, and it's probably my favorite name. Of course, he had the Nimitz, but the way I did the registry number is 28, and then the ship number. The 28 stands for CV. For those of you that are old enough, which you're a Star Trek fan, you probably are old enough to remember when cell phones first came out. When you had the text, you tap the 2 button to get a C, you tap the 8 button to get a V. So that's what the 28 stands for, CV, and then 63 is the actual registry number, Kitty Hawk, the aircraft carrier in which what my registry is now on this ship as well, and why I looked that up. Continue on, John.
Anyway, so after those ships being disabled, USS Yamaguchi and the USS Bellerophon rushed in to rescue the disabled ships, but were succinctly destroyed. Along with a bunch of others entering the combat zone.
Master class, Yamaguchi.
However, even with the efforts, they could not prevent the destruction of the USS Saratoga and the USS Bonestall. And of course, with the assimilated tactical knowledge of Picard, after very, very few minutes, the fleet was destroyed. Admiral Hansen attempted to rally the remaining ships, but his ship was shortly destroyed. Communications were
Here's
cut off in the
interesting.
midst of battle, and no further transmission was received.
Right.
39 starships lost, total loss of nearly 11,000 lives, most of which were
This in
assimilated.
the game is what they did at Memorial and the 28. were able to be, they were still in pieces that were code.
But that is the Battle of Wolf 359. Now we get to the aftermath of the battle. The cube did end up resuming course towards Earth, completely undamaged because they weren't able to really do anything. At least not in the shows. The Enterprise finally completed its repairs, resumed its pursuit. State of emergency was declared on Earth to, I guess, prepare for the Borg invasion. They completely blew through the Mars defense perimeter. You see 3 little pods approach the cube, and the cube just blasts them like they're like nobody's business.
Right.
Like swatting a fly.
Yeah.
The Enterprise did manage to recover Picard. However, he was still assimilated, for lack of a better term, still working for the Borg.
Right.
But thanks to the help of Lieutenant Commander Data, they were able to access the regeneration command of the Borg's network. They sent every Borg into regeneration mode, which caused a feedback loop and destroyed the cube.
Because it's the U.S.
And then, so because of Wolf 359, this is why Star Trek went kind of where it was. So Wolf 359 is 100% the reason we got the Defiant.
Right.
Because shortly after Wolf 359, they immediately began development of the Defiant class.
Which, didn't they use parts of the cube in building those ships?
I can't say for sure whether they did or not.
Okay.
It'd be pretty cool if they did.
I think there was like,
Maybe they
I want to
reverse
say,
engineered some stuff, I can imagine, but
yeah, because I know the Defiant had different technologies than some of the other Starfleet ships previous did. Know that, which, I mean, then again, technology grows as time grows, so of course, yeah, the Defiant's going to be the most technologically advanced ship, anyways. But
right.
I'm gonna look that
Let's
up.
see.
You keep going. I'm gonna look that up.
So no, it did not have, at least not at
Oh,
that time. It did not have.
right.
Um, but it did have a lot of more advanced systems than some of the than a lot of the current Starfleet ships. But that is pretty much a good summary of the battle. What happened before, what happened after.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, no, the Defiant class starships did not use parts from the Borg cubes in their construction, although some later novels quoted that the Terran Defiant classes did.
That would sound about right.
Yeah. So while our Starfleet did not, Terran fleet did when they built theirs. So okay,
Right.
that's what I was getting confused because I was like, I've read somewhere they did. No, it was Terrans, not us.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
And of course, the Defiant had no families, no science labs, no luxuries. It was pretty much like the. I mean, if you think about it, the Defiant was kind of like the submarines of their time.
Right.
If you think about it.
Right.
But that's why we see Starfleet making a lot more warships rather than larger exploratory vessels, much like the Galaxy class. This is why we get the Akira class. This is why we get the Defiant class, and so on and so forth.
There we go, guys. Wolf 359, a brief history, a brief synopsis. Dude, goddamn. Brief synopsis of Wolf 359 and what happened before and after this. And like I said, the game, or like John said, the game kind of just recently did this. I mean, for as long as I've played the game, this has been here. But I've only been playing what?
Like, I don't remember.
So, but we got some cool missions to get into today, and now I'm going to go ahead and get into Starfleet uniforms ranked worst to best from Sean Farrick on whatculture.com. Starting off with 85.
To our mission here, real quick.
Okay. Starting off with 85, honorable mention number 1, holographic imaging, imaginary variations, various star dates.
Okay.
One cannot list the uniforms in total without acknowledging the imaginations of some officers. Whether it's Admiral Picard chatting to his dad, Ensign Balmer, Captain Buford commanding the Wayfarer, or a lonely child creating a holographic Admiral Picard. These variations on a theme deserve a mention. Some uniforms did make the jump from what if into the here and now, while some exist solely in the holographic buffers of few. They are all variations on a dream, though when one considers alternate universes, they may be variations on a nightmare. Beginning, continue, holes, and corners. Honorable mention number 2 is the Mirror Universe Terran Empire uniforms and the Confederation uniforms, 2250s and 2400s. There are darker universes than the one we currently live in, evidenced by more militaristic first-time audiences. 7. Chronologically, humans and Terrans had been interacting for years. Assuming time moves the same. Huh?
Where'd you go?
It put me in continuing this one mission. I guess I didn't finish the one from last time. Where'd I go?
Anyway. Oh, on Cartella.
God damn it. You know what? Where it put me? It put me in that mission that I skipped the other day.
Yeah, we're
okay.
on.
Well,
we're on takedown, buddy.
Okay.
So here, let me set the primary while you're talking. While you get out of that.
There's something interesting. We're about to plan an attack. There's something interesting.
My hair looks white in this fucking light.
I mean... Wait, what?
My hair looks white in the light.
Oh.
Okay, so blue on the left, green. There we go. I got it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this mission quick, and I'll meet up with you guys.
Fair enough.
I don't think this one takes too long.
I don't think so.
Assuming time moves the same way in the Mirror Universe, their version of the 2150s uniform is very similar to their Starfleet counterparts, while 100 years later, the uniforms were drastically different. Featuring armor and more weapons, as the Terran Empire was beginning to wane in the decade that followed. The uniform was redesigned more closely resembling the Starfleet contemporary.
Okay.
By the 2380s, the Terran Empire was struggling to make a comeback. Their uniforms resumed to build active wear, presumably to allow their soldiers to fight with more freedom. In the darker timeline created by an aging Q, General Picard was seen in a uniform that resembled a mix between the Starfleet Monster Maroon and the Terran uniform of the 2250s, still retaining a version of a Delta on the left.
Right.
Which that's the one we talked about. I told you in that photo.
Mm-hmm.
Starfleet uniform started to unknown.
Higher tiers. Once you have earned enough reputation points, you will.
Star Trek Discovery offered audiences a wide variety of Starfleet uniforms, including those seen in flashbacks and visions.
Right.
All depicted at least two different types of uniforms, while Forget-Me-Not brought back the Command Division uniform from the mid to late 2390s, as well as introducing another uniform from an unknown era.
Yeah, there was like a couple in there that came from like unknown eras of Trek.
One that shows is like the gray and red uniform.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Maybe they didn't make something like
What?
Oh, trying to figure out how to fucking do this shit real quick.
Oh.
Figured this out twice, and now I can't do it again. Fuck this. I'm skipping it again.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was an odd uniform.
Okay, so you said we're on takedown?
Yeah.
Okay. Traveling there now. Agent Daniels, Kovic, 29th century, 32nd century. Though Agent Daniels sported a 2150s jumpsuit when he first appeared to Captain Archer in the Enterprise, he quickly swapped that out for a futuristic suit, form-fitting, slightly resembling something a Borg drone would find fetching. After dying and being reincarnated in this uniform, his style changed. By the time he revealed his identity to Michael Burnham in Life Itself, as we know, in Life Itself, he was known for his thick rimmed spectacles, his severe necktie, and a fine black suit. May have been a uniform of one, but Kovic cut an impressive image, legal pads and all. Beginning takedown. Number 81, and I would put this higher on my list. And me and you have talked about this. You guys have heard this on the podcast. I put this uniform a lot higher on my list. But number 81, this guy.
Oh, this is not the First Contact uniform.
Oh, it's not?
No. It's a very close variant to that uniform, but it is not.
Oh, okay. I see that. Star Trek Picard. Okay, it's a flat. Okay, well, the Starfleet Gray variant, mid 2380s. I do like this uniform, though. It looks great. I would put it a little bit higher on my list because
right.
I just love the way the gray and the black.
A lot of people ended up not liking that particular uniform.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to keep watching Picard to get there to see what I think about it. But from this picture, especially on Riker, it looks phenomenal. But then again, there's not a lot of uniforms that Riker could not pull off. Okay, you put Riker in any uniform, and Riker looks impeccable. Put Riker in a monster maroon, and I am convincing him to leave Deanna for me. All right, look.
That's fair.
Seen in a flashback in the Star Trek Picard episode 17 Seconds, this variant was in the service in at least 2381, around the time of Thaddeus Troy Riker's birth. It seemed to be a halfway point between the standard gray and black uniforms introduced from First Contact and the flashback-only uniforms of Picard. The gray shoulder section extended down into the chest, while a division color stripe separated the shoulders from the chest, save for another gray stripe encircling the upper torso. Seen only in this flashback scene as Riker and Picard toast Thad's birth, it is unclear how widespread this uniform was, or for how long.
Which, actually, the website that I get all my uniforms from, I think they have one of those. I want to say.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to get that. I have to get that uniform.
They might have it. I don't know.
Number 80 is a uniform from a series we did not do. We probably should have, but the Star Trek, the animated series, a show that came out in the early 70s that kind of continued on the story of the original series crew in between their live action run and the movie runs.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say, what, only lasted like a couple seasons, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't that
And the
long
second
a run.
season was only like 5 or 6 episodes.
Right. Right.
First season had a lot of episodes, but
The bulk of the Vodwar
Yeah.
fleet has pulled back to Vodwar.
So number 80 is the Human Alliance and Council member
We
USS
expect to face the
Bonaventure,
final
circa
Vodwar,
2269.
including Gauls
In the animated
flags.
series episode The Time Trap, a possible
Our
early
battle
version of a
bear
Starfleet
had
uniform
5
was seen
fronts,
by
each progressively
seen
closer
being
to the
worn by the
planet.
human who sat on the Alliance and Council.
Our
As the
rendezvous
USS
point will be
Bonaventure,
here,
one of
where
the early
mineral
ships
content of the moon
equipped
would
with a
help
warp
to
drive,
power our ships.
was trapped in the Delta Triangle.
The
This
Touré
uniform,
will secure the subspace tunnels in this
according to
area,
Star Trek
while the
coordinate
Kabali will help the wounded.
concordance, was a derivation
already
of a
given us
uniform
our
worn on
assignment.
that vessel.
Our
The
forces
Delta
will
variant
assault
on the
the other
left
side of
breast
the planet to secure the area
suggested a
against a
contemporary
possible
science
retreat.
division
Our
symbol,
Talaxian
adding weight
friends
to
will
this
be in
theory.
charge of transporting prisoners of war.
Number
To give us
79,
the
I like
best
this
possible
uniform, I
chance
really
of
do.
success, our
Because,
battle
again,
will be able to call
I will
on
say
one wing
this.
of our allies
As much as I have a
forces
problem
four
with
fronts.
Enterprise and some of the things that it does,
Each wing of
and
allies
especially
has different
Captain
tactical
Archer,
advantages. The cooperative can confuse enemies.
their uniforms,
The
I love
Kazon
how they
have many
kind of
ships
look
and
like
fight without
contemporary military
The
uniforms.
hierarchy have unparalleled espionage
But they
and surveillance
have,
abilities, and should be
of
difficult
course,
to take
the
by
ship
surprise.
patch on them, and
Azari
they are
vessels
Starfleet
fight in
uniforms,
pairs,
but they look like
with one
contemporary
ship
military
reinforcing the
uniforms
other's
that I have
achievements.
seen, my dad wear,
This
I've
battle will be difficult,
cousins wear,
but
some
we
of my
must
friends
prevail.
wear in their time in the military. So I do kind of like those uniforms. They are pretty cool, in my opinion,
right.
just for that simple reason.
And that particular excursion uniform, because that's the tan one.
Right.
I liked that one. I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I told Hannah I did want to get that one, but it is the excursion outfits, early 2150s, designed for rougher terrain than a starship. The excursion uniforms worn by members of the Enterprise crew were highly adaptable. Though first seen helping Captain Archer and Commander Tucker manage the heat of a
Four wings of allies at our disposal to help you break through the Vodwar lines.
how the hell do you
I
say that?
recommend deploying one
Signai?
wing in each area. Are you ready to
Hold
Right?
on.
Signai Expanse.
Hold on. Yeah, that'd be about the best pronunciation I have for it.
Yeah, hold on, I gotta switch my.
Okay, so yeah, the website that I get all my costumes from, they
Yeah.
have that jacket.
Hell yeah! All right, I'm gonna
Jacket.
switch my controller real quick.
The jacket itself is $33.
What the hell? My shit is not letting me click.
The fleet is ready to begin the assault.
Like, I'm trying to click
The
I'm ready,
Vodwar
it's
have
not
sent
doing
out
it.
Interesting. The Vodwar have sent out several large frigate scouts. Interesting. That is not the choice I would have made, but I presume you
God
have a
damn it.
strategy in mind. However,
Fuck it. I hit the wrong button. Oh well. It'll be fine.
I did.
I hit the wrong button.
Okay, which one are we going to? Left or right?
I'm going to left.
All right.
Because I'm like, it's not going to matter anyway, because we can pretty much wreck these suckers, but that's beside the point.
Right.
But yeah, no, so like the jacket and pants for that uniform are $33 off the website I get my uniforms from.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'll be getting that uniform pretty soon.
Taking heavy losses.
I would definitely order it a size larger than, say, what you would usually wear.
So go extra large instead of large. Huh?
Yeah. Because anytime, because all the uniforms I've ordered, like some of them run small, some of them fit just right.
Right. It was better just to compensate just in case.
Yep.
I gotcha. I mean, it's kind of what I do with my bomber jacket from the Monster Marine bomber jacket I got off of eBay.
Right.
I want a size just in case. And for those of you that are wondering, no, I did not read this article beforehand. I saw it on my Google. I was like, hey, this looks like a fun article to read. I have not read it, so I am not going to, say... I don't know what the top one is, so I don't know if I'm going to agree or not. But I will say, if the Monster Maroon is not at least in the top 5, it is wrong.
Right.
That's got to be in the top 5. That one, the Next Gen uniform, the Next Gen movie uniform, the First Contact uniform, those 3 have to be in the top 5.
Which ally do you
Alright,
want to enhance?
let's go to Harry Kim.
Hold on.
Okay. Alright, so designed for rougher terrain on Starship, the excursion decides Stigni expands. They were also worn by crew members while cave diving. This uniform was a 2-piece outfit consisting of a long-sleeved light brown top.
Can't click
It had black piping. You said what?
I can't click anything.
Yeah, dude, that was my
That is
problem.
an acceptable choice. The K's on
There we
ships
go.
should-
Something's not right here. The K's on a...
Like we gotta listen to them talk first, and then we can click it.
So weird.
Yeah. This it had black piping as well as a zipper at the front of the neck. Starship emblem was on the left shoulder, while the wearer's rank insignia was on the right collar. Yeah, dude, I'm not able to click anything either, and that's why I switched controllers. I thought my controller was having issues.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention. What uniform was next?
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still reading this one.
Oh.
I can kind of see why people don't like it, but I love that. That design looks cool as
Right?
shit.
Like, I'm
And
like,
it
I think
definitely looks like a great segue uniform
right.
from what the movie goes to
I was worried they might double-cross us.
from the movies to what they wear in the flashback scenes of the car,
Right.
which is your favorite uniform, the one that you have your main character. That we have our main characters in on this thing.
Just my favorite uniform in general.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I saw it in that first season of Picard, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I want that uniform. That is a cool uniform.
Yeah, I did too. I enjoyed it. I really did. I think it is a cool looking uniform. But then again, to say a worst uniform that Starfleet has done, I really can't say, because all the uniforms kind of look good. I don't like Discovery, but that blue uniform with the gold, the silver, and the copper, for what designation you are, what group, I mean, they just look great.
Yeah.
But here we go. The pants were similar to the contemporary cargo trousers, presumably a little easier to move in regular Starfleet jumps. Okay, so the next one, we'll kill these guys. 78 Desert Robes, 2375.
Yeah. I almost forgot about those ones.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I did too. So
they're including damn near every uniform, every
Everything,
variation, everything.
which I kind of I kind of figured they would, considering there's like 80 of these. You know,
Right.
they're
I'm just
going
like,
through.
holy shit.
Sean here is being very, very thorough, and I enjoy that. I gotta say.
He's always usually been pretty thorough with his listings. I mean, like I said, watch any of his videos, or watch any of Trek Culture's videos on YouTube.
Yeah. There we go. Now my shit's starting to act right. All right. Sweet. All right. So here we go. The desert robes that appeared in shadows and symbols were roughly based on the excursion outfits worn by the crew of the Voyager, seen in episode Blood Fever. Thought these robes were described as being able to help block out the sun. The Ciscos and Dax still had a very warm day in the desert. The boots, likewise similar to the boots used on Voyager, were designed by Reebok. Like many other variations of survival gear, they bore the division colors of each wearer, this time across the chest of the shirt of the robe. Are we going with Neelix?
I have no idea. Because I can't click.
I'll just go with...
should be adequate to the task.
Yeah, it looks like Neelix. I was able to get a click.
So I always ask, like, what's your advice, Admiral? And, like, he pretty much gives you the answer.
Right.
I'll have to memorize that one of these days. Anyway. That kind of solves that problem.
Hey.
Go.
Number 77, the Starfleet Combat Gear 2373.
Yeah, the combat uniforms from DS9.
I did enjoy those on Deep Space Nine. I thought they were pretty cool.
I mean, I only ever saw them, like, tore up, but... Yeah, no, I like them.
And even in the picture they're using on the website, it's tore up. But they look pretty cool. You know, because even though you see them all tore up, everybody's, like, you can piece them together to see what they're supposed to look like, more or less.
Yeah.
Looking at everyone wearing. I thought it was pretty cool because it's a different take on what Starfleet would wear if they're down, for lack of a better term, in the trenches.
Right.
Which, of course, as we know, Starfleet's not supposed to be exactly a militant force, but, you know, sometimes you got it. Not every race is peaceful, as we know. Cough, cough, Klingons, cough, cough, Rappadoon, cough, cough, Borg.
It's an old adage.
Does
Sidus
Borg even count?
Carabella.
Does Borg even count as a species, considering they're typically made up of different types of species?
I don't know.
You know what, chat? We're leaving that to you guys. Does Borg count as their own species, or is it a collective? What would you classify?
They're a collective, ding dong.
Well, yeah, but like, what would you classify the Borg?
I mean,
which team?
I mean, they could constitute their own species technically. Well, not even a species. I consider them a race, not a species.
Fair enough.
What the difference is, I have no freaking idea. But they're they're a race of collective species.
There we go. Yeah.
That's the best.
I'm good with that answer.
Like, we only have one option here, so it's not like we have a choice.
Right. This combat gear was first shown on screen in Nor the Battle to the Strong, the 5th season episode of Deep Space Nine, depicting the Battle of Ajalon Prime. a Starfleet soldier played by Danny Goldring, was discovered by Jake Sisko in his final moments. The uniform was clearly designed to give the wearer additional protection. Additional protection, yeah. Does that make sense, dumbass?
Additional protection. Yeah, fucking right. See how easily those things got torn through? Like, goddamn.
Right? But, wear additional protection from hand-to-hand combat, though judging by the burns and melted material on the quote, it is unclear how effective it was against phaser and disruptor.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm gonna... Yeah.
Like maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't built for the. Oh hell! What kind of weapons did the Jem'Hadar use? Polaron. They used Polaron weapons.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't like.
Right.
It was more tailored to say phaser or disruptor energy, which is why we see it so torn up.
Because up until we see the Jem'Hadar start fighting, we don't really encounter those type of weapons.
And anybody
no one really has those.
I was going to say anybody we did encounter uses either phasers or disruptors.
Right.
Shit.
Oh man, they got you, huh?
They got me. Yeah, Klingons and Romulans both use disruptors. Of course, the Federation uses phasers. I think even the Ferengi use phasers. Cardassians use phasers.
The Ferengi used... the Borg used phasers and disruptors, right?
Borg
they
used plasma. The Borg used plasma.
Right.
So, like, Romulans, they're plasma disruptors. Borg is more just plasma beams. Does that make sense?
Right. Right.
Plasma beams you can control a little bit more than a plasma disruptor. Because disruptors, I don't believe, have a stun setting. They just have lower settings of disruption.
Right.
Basically, it messes less of your shit up.
Excellent work, Captain. I know.
And
amazing. A lighter variant was seen in use during the siege of AR-558, where it similarly failed to protect
they have broken
Vargas.
through to their final line of defense, their command ships.
76.
However, in doing so, we have exhausted
I don't know. I mean, I kind of like this uniform. I don't know if I would have it this low. But, again, I don't know what else I'm up against here. I don't know what other uniforms they have on here. I mean, he's going through everything, so I'm sure I might like what he's got better later on. But 76, Section 31, Kelvin timeline, early 2260s.
Not quite alone. The Rojan have matters.
Right.
Michael Kaplan designed a more... Oh,
that
sorry,
one was pretty cool. Like, I remember seeing it, and I was like, I kind of wish it had, like, different department colors, or, like, maybe the black and the blue switched. But I still like the uniform overall.
I do. I think it's a phenomenal uniform. Like I said, I personally would probably have it higher, but I don't know. Might be the way it's at, pending the rest of the list, but we will get there when we get there.
Right.
Let's come on, ship. Get in motion. Kitty Hawk came to show her claws and fuck you guys up. You messed with my Starfleet, and now I'm going to fuck you. Kitty Hawk. It's fuck you up.
It's fuck you up.
Well, what did I say?
What did I say?
What did I say?
I'm going to fuck you. It's. Wait, what did I say?
Hannah got mad at me, so you don't even watch that show.
Have you not seen it?
Okay, I watched it one time with Hannah. I'm gonna be 100%. I watched the entire series with you. I watched the entire thing with you. One time, one record. I'm just not a big musicals guy. I am not like, that's funny to say as a theater arts major, I am not a musicals guy. I can take them or leave them.
Yeah. That means you're gonna love that episode of Strange New Worlds.
Right. Oh, hey, I remember this. The first time we did this mission, you fell asleep on me right here.
That tracks. I believe that.
Yeah, well, actually, I think we got down here. We all got big fucked up. And then we went through to come back through. You fell asleep.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting a little bit further, but getting fucked up myself. So I decided to head off for the night, wait for you to wake up, and finish it later.
Oh man, yeah. No, I like, yeah. That definitely tracks. I think I do remember that. Well, there is no chance of that happening tonight.
Right. Yeah, I got about right here, and because again, so for those of you who don't know, when you're playing this game and you have more than one like you're playing with more than one person, they, like if you're playing with two people, they double the amount of bad guys. Playing with three, they triple.
So on and so forth.
They're kind of making it even fair.
I don't know if they actually triple.
You don't know, that's fair, because I think that one time we were playing with your brother, we had the same amount of enemies just being you had.
Yeah. But I can't
But they do double it if you're more than... Yeah, but they do double it, at least, if you're playing with more than one person. So I was trying to take these guys on by myself, and I got
it was just a non-starter at that point.
It was doomed from the start.
But yeah, that particular uniform, like, I liked it. I thought it could have been a...
Yeah.
It's a good contender.
Could have done a little bit better. I think I would have it, going off of just the Starfleet uniforms that are like the regular, series running uniforms.
Right.
I would have it, within the top 15. But going through all of them, like I said, there might be others that I'm not thinking about right now that are going to be here.
And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that.
Right. Kind of like what we've already kind of done was like, oh yeah, there's that one, the combat uniform, the
desert robes, yeah.
Get shit on, Overseer. Eat Genesis.
No, it doesn't work. That doesn't actually do anything, right?
Oh, I know. I'm just throwing it down because I forgot to unset it as my quick action. Well, like, all my other actions are, like, auto-fire anyways, so I don't need to necessarily switch it. Fucking barbed wire.
Alright, what do we have next on the list?
Let's see, hold on. Michael Kaplan designed a more colorful uniform for Section 31 to wear than their prime reality counterparts got to enjoy. While Sloan was clad in black leather.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly call that leather, but okay.
Right. Admiral Marcus boasted a gray and light blue ensemble, perhaps reflecting the hopeful nature of the Kelvin timeline. Stunning optimism. Getting stuck on shit. It's not there. To go ahead and rally my Brazil. I don't know where the hell they went.
You have to get out of red alert, so you gotta wait for your...
Okay, there we go. Alright guys, follow along this time, please. Come on, Haley. Haley's not ready.
God damn it.
Okay, look, Haley, if this is about the remarks that I've made in recent episodes, I'm sorry. I promise not to do it again, just as long as you do your fucking job. Jokes aside, the version of Section 31 boasted more bravado than their counterparts, which may, in part, have led to their uniforms more closely aligning with Starfleet standards. Though the jackets were made from two-tone material, unlike any other uniforms in the fleet, they did not boast a Starfleet Delta. Number 75, Starfleet Uniform 3189. We have a picture of Michael Burnham. His uniform. Looks alright. I personally haven't gotten there on Discovery myself. Then again, I'm pushing myself through Discovery. Are you still back there trying to figure out what's going on with Haley?
Kinda. I'll wait here. I'll just go up here and then yeah.
Yeah. For the Starfleet uniforms in the late 32nd century, costume designer Gersha Phillips decided that they would be a part 3D printed to give them a more techie look, as per her interview in the Ready Room with Will Wheaton. Some parts of these uniforms were specifically modeled to the wearer. The Tricom badge, introduced early in Star Trek Discovery's third season, sat on the left breast, while rank insignia were moved to the front of the collar. Alright, I'm here. Let's go. Captains wore shoulder epaulets that ran from front to back rather than shoulder to collar. The division color stripe also ran from the shoulder to the hem on the right side of the jacket. There was a separate, distinct Starfleet security uniform. It didn't bear a division color option, instead featuring a quilted section surrounding the shoulders. Hardware pieces of shit. Die, fuckers, die! Number 74, the utility uniforms of the 2360s. The outfit in which Lar...
Yeah, 2360. Yeah.
Congratulations. You have earned the right to die on the hallowed soil of Vakwa Prime.
Lar, man, I love Lar. He is a great enemy in the show.
Good old Lord.
Anti-Data. Oh, I'm not like you at all, Data. In fact, some would call me. Yes, I made a Flash quote, a Star Trek quote, but fuck it, I think it fits.
There we go, she finally caught up.
All right.
Your bravery,
We will never surrender.
Twice you've refused my generosity.
Never give up, never surrender.
Never surrender. By Grabthar's hammer, you shall be avenged.
By Grabthar's hammer. What a savings.
Savings so good, they're out of this. I won't say the damn line. I'm not going to say it. He can't make
bloody line one more time. Show must go on. Damn. Damn, where is that little bastard? There.
He was up there. I got him.
Pete.
The 24th Century Utility Uniform was introduced early in the Next Generation's first season and featured variants in each of the division colors. Lore was outfitted with an Operations Gold uniform, while Ralph Offenhouse donned a Science Blue. By the fourth season, the blue and red variants were phased out in favor of the gold, meaning it became the most used version of this uniform. Variations on this suit would appear throughout the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Lower Decks, and Picard, with a further variant seen in Star Trek Nemesis, also seen on the Son of Sun. This one, I will say, no matter what, this one should have been higher. The next one is the Starfleet Service uniform from the Kelvin timeline. the black and the red versions from when they were graduating.
Oh, yeah.
And when Kirk was being put on trial.
Well, that was the cadet uniform.
Right, yeah. The red's the cadet uniform. The black one is the service uniform. I think that should definitely be a little bit higher no matter what else is on this list. Personally, because I enjoyed that so much.
Yeah, I thought it was alright. Like, it reminded me... God, what did it remind me of?
Fuck you, Gaul.
I can't remember what the hell that uniform reminded me of.
Give it a minute. I'm sure it will come to you.
I'm sure.
The Vatwar Empire will never fall, and you will not even...
Vatwar Empire is gonna die. I'm gonna make sure. Ow! That hurt, yeah. Now because of you and that little move, you're all done. Dying, Jim. So here we go. The Starfleet Service Uniform, Kelvin Timeline 2250s. While on the ground at Starfleet Headquarters or Starfleet Academy, officers in the alternate 2250s, created by the Radar Incursion, sported a dark gray or black service. These were simple outfits designed for function over fashion, with designer Michael Kaplan using a Star Trek encyclopedia for inspiration. These and variations of worn by both standard officers and flag officers, with minor alterations and highlights between stations.
I still can't think of what these frickin' uniforms remind me of.
I can't even get that close to the platform. I keep not.
Oh, you know what? They kind of reminded me of, like, the Navy all-khaki uniforms.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's probably why I loved it, because I love the all-khaki Navy uniform. Ever since I saw it on JAG, and I used to watch that with my dad when I was younger, the all-khaki is just absolutely phenomenal. Eat Genesis device. Big set, don't just stand there, do something, damn it.
We
Got
cannot be
it.
stopped.
Got
Time
him.
after time we rise from the ashes, and we are stronger
This one-
for doing so.
Oh no,
Your
I
logic is
don't know how I
flawed.
feel about this one.
You are already defeated. The evil I mistakenly
The
unleashed
70
on the galaxy
number 72 is
ends at
flag
last.
officer uniform, late
My
2390.
people and the galaxy must believe the
Fleet Admiral
parasites
Kirsten
behind his
Clancy,
madness.
Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet, needed to make an entrance, and thanks to Christine Clark's design, she certainly did that. Her uniform, ditching the Delta pattern present on the standard duty uniform, is a mix of gray, charcoal, and no fucking nonsense. That is what this says. Not my words.
Certainly.
Her uniform consists of these.
The second F-bomb ever in Star Trek.
Yes. What was the first one?
Tilly. In like
That's right.
the first season of Discovery,
Yeah.
Star Trek dropped its first 2 F-bombs. And it
Where the
was...
hell did you go?
I went up to the command center. Where'd you go?
I'm still down here, and it's not giving me the option to get up there.
Oh, hold on.
Happened, dude. We gotta run up there? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Like, was it just not opening the door for you or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Star Trek Online is on some shit today, guys. Okay. Her uniform consists of this two-tone worn over a red undershirt. The high collar is abandoned, while the communicator and rank insignia, 5 pips in her case, remain present on the chest. Her uniform seems designed to deflect from any superfluous details, which it achieves perfectly.
Superfluous.
That's the word. I read English good. I do grammar well.
Right.
Number 71, Starfleet uniform, late 2390. The one that's focused on imp.
I mean, I liked these uniforms when I saw they were coming. Like, before I saw the actual show. Because it was cool to see the next Starfleet uniform.
Right.
But ultimately, I find them to be a bit basic.
Right. Like, okay, for me, in the flashback scenes in Picard, where we see the your favorite uniform.
Right.
To go from that to what looks to be a basic Voyager-esque uniform with just an extra little thing. Outfit. Yeah, to go from that to this.
If you ask me, they should have just stuck with the
like this
flashback uniforms, because those
honestly, because
so much better.
Right, like I would have reversed it a little bit. Because we know from the Nemesis uniform, we go to the Voyager uniform. And I think a Voyager uniform into this uniform, then into the flashback uniform, would have been better.
Right.
I think it's a better transition. This just feels like we're going backwards, which is probably why I don't like this uniform. I think it's perfect where it's at. I would have put a couple of uniforms that are behind it, above it, but
congratulations.
That's just
Tuvok would like
me.
you to join his team as they study the mysterious artifact you found. There's something interesting.
Like those uniforms in use in the mid-2380s, Starfleet uniforms in the late 2390s were designed by Christine Clark. Structurally, they were similar to those uniforms
seen
towards the end of the 2360s and the beginning of the 2370s.
So, yeah.
Right, so they're even saying, yeah, it's pretty much the
it's pretty much
Voyager
based off of those uniforms, yes.
Yeah. They were two-tone with a division color running across the shoulders and high collars. The patterns on this section of the uniform consist of small deltas, similar to those seen on the Kelvin universe counterparts. While the wearer still displayed their comm badge on the left breast, the rank insignia were moved from the right collar to the right breast. Clark, having studied the progression of Starfleet uniforms, wanted something that was deliberately simple, possibly suggesting a Starfleet that had grown a little stale.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, they accomplished that. But
right.
I like the idea behind it, though. Because if you've seen that first season of Picard, that's kind of the message that they're kind of wanting to send. And that uniform just portrays that perfectly.
Right. And so you know what? That makes me like the uniform a little bit more. Knowing that that's the reason behind it, that makes more sense. I enjoyed that because, again, in the first couple seasons of Picard, especially that first season,
Mhm.
Starfleet does not feel like Starfleet at all.
Starfleet feels
Like-
like a background character at that point.
Right.
Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah.
Right.
Like,
And
Starfleet's
and
kind of put on the back
it
burner.
just that, and it's not even just that. It's like when dealing with Starfleet and talking about what happened to Starfleet. It's almost like looking at Luke from, the
Right.
Luke Skywalker in the sequel movies 7, 8, 9. That's not Luke. You can't sit here and tell me that's Luke fucking Skywalker. That's not how Luke Skywalker acts. That's not who he is. And Starfleet kind of feels that same way. So, knowing that
But
that's the reason behind the uniform makes sense to me.
Yeah. But I mean, even like looking at especially that first season,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of the direction they wanted to go with it, which makes a lot of sense, given everything that Starfleet's been through. I mean, this is kind of a hopeful. Trek Online is kind of a hopeful telling of what happened after Romulus blew up.
Welcome back to
Right.
Star Trek Picard tells a more almost realistic aspect of what would happen.
Right.
Realistic, more almost this day and age approach to what would happen and what I feel like would probably actually happen.
Right. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the engineering room of the USS Voyager.
Again, this time not in dream form.
Right. All right, number 70, Starbase Yorktown uniform, Kelvin timeline 2263.
I did like that uniform. That was a pretty cool uniform, I thought.
I did, yeah. Yeah, it was. It's kind of like how our theory is that the different uniforms when Deep Space Nine kicks off.
Right. Like
I'm gonna let you do that. I'm on.
The star bases and everything had their own separate uniform, while everybody else.
Right.
The engineering
right, like shipbound guys had one uniform, star bases had another one, and
the engineers tell me
and why the different uniform changes, because we even see Cisco when we first see Cisco during the Battle of Wolf 359. He's in this uniform. He's in the connection uniform, and then when he arrives on Deep Space Nine, he changes into what becomes the Voyager uniform. Before season 3, they get the black and gray that everybody gets. And the Yorktown uniform, Starbase Yorktown uniform, kind of gives us that same vibe in the Kelvin timeline, and I like it. And that uniform looks cool. I think it looks phenomenal.
The engineering teams are reading big zeros.
This uniform, worn by officers on Starbase Yorktown, were closer in design to the functional jumpsuits featured in Star Trek Enterprise. However, they sported brighter colors in larger swaths. Standard officers wore deltas similar to those found on starships on their left breast, as well as the location-specific patch on their left shoulder. Flag officers like Commodore Paris wore a variation of this uniform rather than brighter design along their shoulders. Their chest deltas were, though to date these uniforms have only been seen on Starbase Yorktown. They continue the tradition of individual starbases having their own unique designs.
Which I like that.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Right. Hold on. Running through. Number 69. Nice. Tactical Mission Suit 2323.
Now, this is a uniform you're not necessarily going to know a whole lot about, because I don't know if you've seen this or not.
Probably not.
So this is from Section 31. The picture you are seeing on that particular, that is Lieutenant Rachel Garrett.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
that's from the movie.
yeah,
I've elected not to watch.
that's probably good.
Yeah. Nope.
But yeah, so that is Lieutenant Rachel Garrett in that picture that you're seeing there.
Okay. The costumes for Star Trek Section 31 were designed by Gersha Phillips, returning from her tenure on Star Trek Discovery. Like the former show, Phillips took inspiration from such design houses as Balenciaga,
Fascinating.
though seemingly eschewed
Hello
the
again.
established uniform designs in the period in which the film is set. Lieutenant Rachel Garrett acting as acting as a representative of Starfleet in the film, wears a navy undershirt over which she wears a black vest adorned with pockets. Pants are a darker gray color, presumably to allow the operative to move in the shadows without being seen. When combined with the rest of the outfit, the side holster on the right contains.
I think they're thinking of the phaser that you and I are both using.
Yeah.
Not
an updated version of the phaser from the Ghost. The Phase 2 phaser.
We're seeing 3 patrol groups.
Like I said, I think they're talking about the Star Trek 2 phaser because there was no phasers in the motion picture. At least not that I'm aware of.
Well, there was, but they weren't huge. Like, because remember, Kirk and McCoy and Spock all kind of equip a phaser to them when they go down to V'Ger.
Do they?
When they get to the center, I believe so. I'll have to.
I was pretty sure they didn't have anything with them but a tricorder. But I've been known to be wrong before. 'Cause I noticed, like, when they get back to the ship, like, all they do is take the jackets off, and there's nothing in those jackets. Like I said, I've been known to be wrong before, so...
Yeah, they did. They did have a phaser for the motion picture. It looks, Here, I will, this one. Man, the security officers and Decker on board the Enterprise had one.
Oh.
I'll shoot them over to you on Snapchat.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't remember there ever being any phasers in that movie, but I guess I wasn't looking that closely. Oh yeah, I'll be damned. It's the same fucking phaser. It's the same phaser I was just talking about a minute ago. Yeah, okay. I never knew they were in there.
Technically from the Wrath of Khan, yeah. But, yeah.
Because, I mean, you hardly saw the suckers.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even notice they were there. So, I mean...
Right. But again, most of that movie took place on the Enterprise, where there wasn't anybody coming aboard the Enterprise that wasn't supposed to be there, so...
Right, or anything like that.
There wasn't really enough need for the phasers in the movie to make them memorable in that movie anyway, so...
Anyway...
Number 68, Space Dock Security and General Security, mid-2280s, mid-2290s. The little gray Space Dock uniform from Search for Spock.
Yeah.
I personally don't like this uniform.
I
think this one should definitely be a lot lower.
I'd like it a lot better if it didn't include the stupid little hat. Don't get me wrong. I am all for like stupid little hats, but it just does not work in that particular instance.
Right, like the hat for Enterprise. The hat that I sure as shit love that, because it's very reminiscent of the hat that skippers wear on board naval ships today, where
But I mean, if you look at that hat that's in that particular scene of that movie, it's basically a trucker's hat that they did up, and it does not fit with that
uniform whatsoever.
Yeah, with the uniform or with the mythos even.
Yeah, right. That and then the green is just so contrasting against the blue and the red on the armband that it's just like, okay, pick a color and depending on the color, put where it's going to be. Now I know technically, let's get into this. I'll see if I'm right.
So that looks like
Star Trek
cadet
3:
with
The
a
Search for
science division,
Spock.
or cadet with an operations division, is what the armband is telling me.
Yeah.
Because the undershirt is not like any of the undershirts, and so on and so forth.
Good.
Well, see, because it kind of looks like the red is meant for engineering and the green is meant for security forces.
I was thinking we should
but I was going to say, but the green on the uniform just doesn't match any of the other.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's throwing me so much with that green.
Yeah.
These are so.
And that's kind of why I don't like it.
That's fair.
These reports about them.
Oh, these guys again.
These twerps.
This is obviously.
Go through my inventory real quick because I definitely got to do that. We'll pause here to go through that because I haven't done that in a minute and it shows.
After using the Iconian Gateway on New Romulus, the Solanae kidnap victims through subspace for their brutal experiments. If they are somehow connected to the Alachi and the Vaadwaur, this is beginning to make more sense. If I had to guess, there must be a stasis room nearby. We should find it and rescue anyone in there who can still be saved.
Sorry, I'm kind of like looking ahead to see what uniforms we've got coming up.
Okay. I truly want to be surprised by
I just want to. I'm not even reading any of them. I'm just going through.
No, fair enough. I'm just saying, like, yeah, just don't tell me. I kind of want to be surprised and yell and scream as needed.
I think you'll need to yell and scream as needed, to be quite honest with you. Like, most of these seem pretty fair so far.
Okay.
I didn't go that far into it, but...
Right.
Most of them seem like pretty fair rankings. Okay. But of course I didn't get all the way to the top or anything like that, so.
Right.
I think I only went about, like, maybe 10 rankings up, so.
Okay. Okay, I'm definitely good to go now.
Okay, I was like,
Sorry, I had to go through my inventory because I was like you've attained something, but you have no space for it. I was like, what? So I went through my inventory. I was like, oh fuck.
yeah, it happens. But back to the article.
Yes. So, search for stock introduced a unique style of security officer uniform seen only on the space dock. This padded uniform displayed the delts on the left breast as usual, as well as service and rank insignia on the left sleeve. The strap containing the insignia was closer to the bicep as the cuff closed the sleeves on a dress shirt. With buttons extending back through the length, this uniform also came with a hat as well as a buckle at the front that evoked memories of the person and devices in the motion picture. This security uniform was vastly different from those aboard starships, which featured body armor and helmets as early as the mid-2270s, though later lost those helmets by the mid-2270s. What the hell? Game is bugging out. What the fuck?
Yours is. Where'd you go? Oh, mine's bugging out too. Oh, there we go. We're good. Okay, good now. Maybe? You still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Everything will be fine, Mr. Director. We'll beam you directly to safety. You'll be back on duty before you know it.
Number 67, Field Gear 2287.
I did like this uniform. Like I know you don't like the movie that it's in, but I enjoyed this uniform.
I honestly forgot about it, and that's probably because I don't like the movie that it's in, but it is a nice looking uniform. It's kind of an all tan or an all gray of the Monster Maroons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of like a. The jacket was definitely different. It was definitely like a.
You're going to be
fine. The closest thing I could think of is like a security sweater, like a police sweater type thing.
Right.
A hazard.
That were over the.
We'll get you the medical attention.
That were over their undershirts.
The door is unlocked now.
Right.
We should keep going.
But I like that sweater. I do like that sweater a lot, which is why I like that uniform.
Right. And I do. This uniform does look cool. Like I said, when it came to the movies, I might not like the movie, but the uniforms in those movies were really good uniforms. There's not, like, even the motion picture, I think if you color them differently, they'd be a lot cooler.
I mean, I like them, but that's just me.
But you know.
Hey, my nickname is Hot Take, so of course I do.
Right.
And that's not for a bit. Like I do genuinely do like those uniforms, like as they are.
Right.
We do a lot of things for the bit around here. That is not one of them. For me, that's not one of them.
Like, I was messing around in the Taylor at one point on this game, and I put on the motion picture uniform, and then I colored it where, like, the front and back of it was black, but the sleeves were red.
Prison break. Maybe I should
To
go
like
back
make
to
it
the
a
ship.
kind of a next gen meets motion picture uniform look.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it looks phenomenal. Like I said, without the blues, I didn't like the blues. The tan was okay, the khaki was okay, but I did not like the pastel blues.
I actually kind of liked it. I thought it was gray, but like I thought it was more of a gray rather than like a pastel blue. But
Right.
I liked it.
Let's see. The field gear worn by the rescue team on Nimbus 3 was designed by Nino Rodis Yamero, with additional supervision and design by Dodie Shepard and Karen Pulley. These outfits were predominantly beige, though Captain Kirk wore a darker charcoal colored ensemble.
Yep.
Like the Monster Maroons, they had a strap on the left sleeve bearing rank and insignia, as well as a black belt with a delta on the buckle. Unlike their counterparts, they lacked the shoulder strap and the delta on the left breast.
Right.
The pullover was worn over division-specific shirts. Next one looks absolutely weird. It is from an animated series, though. What is this series? Is this Lower Decks?
This is Prodigy.
Prodigy. Okay, what is that?
It's another animated series they decided to do. It was on for a while. It was pretty good.
This is more like a factory than a
okay.
laboratory.
I don't think I've seen that. Well, I know I haven't seen it. I didn't know they did that. When was this?
Not that long ago.
Okay.
Yeah, Paramount just dropped it. They weren't even going to release the second season, but then they let Netflix take it.
But it's quite advanced.
And put the second season on there. So we still got the second season.
So they'll let Netflix have Star Trek, but they won't let
just that particular show.
Have Star Trek?
Just that particular show. That's it. They don't get anything else.
Right. I know for a while all the series were on Netflix.
Oh yeah, up until they came out with CBS All Access.
Right.
As soon as they came out with CBS All Access, any of the shows, nope, you gotta watch them on Paramount. But they took that one even off Paramount Plus. After the first season, they just took it off there.
That's probably why I didn't know that it existed, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Where the fuck is it doing?
What's be going? Then we came in on this door.
Maybe this door? Screw it. Let's go back that way and we'll see. But, yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Around the back and flank. Fuck yeah. Eat phaser. So here we go. Starfleet Academy, early 2380s. Starfleet Academy updated its uniforms by the 2380s, moving away from the jumpsuits that resembled those seen on star bases. By 2384, cadets wore a one-piece uniform that incorporated maroon and cream tones.
Potential contact with the prisoner?
These uniforms...
it wasn't a great uniform, to be quite honest with you.
I don't like it. I gotta be honest. I don't care for it. It does not...
Yeah.
I think it should be lower than what it is, considering some of the other uniforms that are behind.
Right.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Uh-huh.
I hate you. I hate you. Here's a phaser. Kill yourself. Hate you.
Uh-huh.
I don't hate a lot of people, but you I definitely hate.
Hate, hate, hate. Hate, hate, hate. Hate. Loathe entirely.
Loathe entirely.
I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Shoot you in the face. I don't either, because we're supposed to be... I'm standing right in front of her. I can't talk to her. There's no cutscene. I know there's supposed to be a cutscene.
How did you even get in there?
Jump right through.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which, isn't there supposed to be glass in between us, Sheila?
Yeah.
The game is bugged.
Fantastic.
Jordy, I need a workaround, and I need one fast.
But yeah, no. So that was kind of one of the uglier uniforms.
Yeah. Let's see. These uniforms were in service until at least 2385. Where are we going? Morning mission?
Yeah.
Okay. As evidenced by those wearing them on first contact day of that year, acting and provisional officers wore similar uniforms to those worn by Wesley Crusher in the early 2360s, while warrant officers like Dow wore a uniform similar to the experimental variant assigned to the USS Protostar. This uniform was standard issue, though, throughout the Academy, although members of the elite team Nova Squadron also wore identifying emblems on it. Number 65, we're going back to Voyager here. Excursion training uniforms, early 2370s.
You found a breathing apparatus. That should take care of that nasty cough.
Do all this again.
This is... These are Solinate tables.
Yeah, I did like these excursion uniforms.
Yeah, they look kind of cool. Kind of makes me think about Wesley Crusher's little sweater that he has, you know, but just each division gets their own thing instead of the three stripes for each division.
Right. Red, yellow, or blue.
Right. But it kind of makes me think of Wesley's sweater. So fuck you, Chris, from Screen Rant. Wesley's sweater for the win.
You dealt with after using the Iconian Gateway on New Romulus. The Solinate kidnapped...
These excursion uniforms were introduced in Star Trek Voyager.
If they are somehow...
You know, I feel like that's going to become a running joke, though. That's just hating on Chris from Screen Rant.
If I had to guess,
because
there must be a stasis room nearby.
That's fair.
We should find it. And
we should just make it a running joke. We're going to have this entire podcast fans just hating on this guy just because he wrote one terrible fucking... Right. He might be a great guy. He might be a great reporter and has gotten better over time, but that one just fucking ruined his entire career for us.
We'll never forgive him.
Okay, this is where it fucked up last time. Let's hope it doesn't do it again.
No, we were a little bit further on when it fucked up.
Well, yeah, but still, we both got, like, kind of messed with here.
Did we?
It looks as if they're...
Well, yeah, because, like, my game started to fuck up. You said your game was fucking up here.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then it corrected itself, so, yeah.
Yeah. Open containment food.
We're transporting you.
We're in the middle of combat, but
You're going to be fine. Ah, a Hazard.
Hi, welcome back
Stay
from the
calm.
tube.
We'll get you the medical attention you need.
Boob tube.
What is this, Commander Jark? I should leave you in this tube.
This is no way for
I know we're not supposed to know you're a problem
We'll
yet.
patch him up.
I should leave you in that tube.
Why are we putting Commander Jirok in a tube?
Isn't he a dick that betrays us later on?
Who?
The Klingon Commander Jarok.
That's Chancellor Jimpock, and no, that was not him.
Oh yeah. Will you
Commander Jirok is the hot Romulan captain that I want to vote.
That's right. That's right.
So I was like, you talking shit about my boot?
No. Not about. No.
That's what I was like,
duty
bitching
before
you.
know it. One to Bima.
No, I'll let her out of the tube.
Transport this Talaxian directly to sickbay.
I'll get in the tube with her.
A Kazon? Even the Borg won't assimilate a Kazon.
These excursion uniforms were introduced in Star Trek Voyager, allowing the wearer a greater amount of mobility, and in case of boots,
Well, the door is unlocked.
and in the case of the boots, grip, particularly when partaking in activities like rock climbing. For them to be available to Voyager's crew, they must have been in service as early as 2371. They were similar in design to the training uniforms also seen aboard Voyager, though the excursion variants had longer sleeves. Both bore a division stripe across the chest with rank insignia on the collar of the excursion uniform. The training uniforms, on the other hand, had no high collars, presumably as rank indicators weren't a priority for these designs.
Right.
Well, I kind of like this one. I completely forgot about this one, too. I like this uniform.
Oh,
One of my
yeah, this
favorites,
one's cool.
It's an original series uniform for those of you wondering. We're going to get through this battle here, and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit.
Maybe I should go back to the ship.
The away jacket, mid-2250s. The away jacket, worn by officers and technicians in the early to mid-2250s,
This must be where the Vodwar were implanted with those mind-controlling bugs.
consisted of a dark gray material. It was worn over a utility harness that allowed the person to holster their laser pistols and communicators.
Did you know that several Starfleet officers were infected by these in the mid-2360s? If Gaul and the... I don't believe it. The Iconians, as we know them, rarely... When Voyager revived the Vodwar...
Officers wore jackets with a white stripe on the sleeve, while technicians wore blue, and yeomans didn't wear a stripe. The jacket, first seen in The Cage, inspired the later variant seen in Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Strange New Worlds, with the latter offering a more streamlined, lighter version.
That makes sense. Yeah, the excursion jacket in Star Trek Strange New Worlds is awesome.
Let's see. The Strange New Worlds version had a zipper running up the front of the jacket and bore the crest of the individual ship on the left shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
A heavier version was worn by Captain Pike in Through the Valley of Shadows, bearing a rank indicating epaulets on the shoulders.
Yep.
Who the fuck is Division 14?
How much have you seen of Lower Decks?
This is more like a factory than a laboratory.
Fair enough.
Well, like that's my question to answer your question, is how much have you seen of Lower Decks?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Like, you haven't seen any Lower Decks?
These parasites...
I haven't. Like, I've seen the trailers that they put out for it, and that was it.
Some of this technology is ancient, but it's quite advanced.
Yeah, that's what Division 14 is.
Okay,
It's in lower decks.
gotcha. Yeah, see, these guys weren't here last time. Well, no, they were.
They were.
Fucking up my ass. Past this, where the game decided to go fuck this.
Yeah. Come on, don't hold it after this.
I think we're catching up with the...
Maybe we should avoid any potential.
Okay, the
contact
doctor didn't
with
say
prisoner?
something last
I
time, so
think
that's a
I've
good
seen
sign.
enough combat for today.
Right, right. Alright, just don't piss her off. I hate you, bitch. I hate you, bitch. I hate you, bitch.
Fucked it up again. Nope, game's just broken. Fantastical.
Well then, what do we do from here?
Well, we send this place to God.
You put it in the wrong area.
Huh?
Did you put it in the wrong area? Put it right up Sela's ass.
Right up. That being said, I think we're going to call it here. One of our shorter streams, but
Right? Okay, well, let's get to the top. We're going to go through the top 10 first before we call it here.
So for any of you who are watching, it's about to get very boring.
Yeah, gonna get very boring, but for you guys on the podcast, you're about to have a lot of fun. Alright, top 15 on. Number 15, All Good Things, The Visitor, in-game, future, mid-2390s, early 2400s. This is one of my favorite non-standard, one of my favorite uniforms. I say non-standard, but like, it becomes standard, but like, we don't see it but in passing, pretty much.
Right.
This is one of my favorite uniforms that I love to see. I enjoy this uniform.
Right.
First seen in Q's anti-time future. These uniforms shared similarities with several other iterations. First, the division color took up the entire upper part of the uniform, similar to those in service between the 2050s and
2270s.
They were double-breasted like those from the 2280s and 2350s, and black piping separated the shoulders from the body. This design was never seen in the standard timeline, though it appeared in 3 different shows, in addition to its appearance in All Good Things. It was also in Deep Space Nine in the episode The Visitor. Its final to-date appearance was in Voyager's Endgame. This occasion also marked the only Admiral variant, Admiral Riker, who wore Admiral's uniform from the late 2360s with added gold piping, as well as the Cadet variant, which was gray with black piping. Tom Badge introduced All Good Things would go into service in the early to mid 2380s, though it was adapted by the 2390s. Like the flag officer uniforms in service in the early 2380s, the rank insignia was worn on the right breast just above the piping. Number 14 should be a hell of a lot higher. Number 14 is the Starfleet away gear, late 2270s, 2280s. The excursion jacket that was introduced in the late 2270s was designed to function better for away missions, providing ample storage for whatever the wearer might require. The right sleeve forward rank insignia, the ribbed cuff, while that ribbing extended along the side of the jacket, and the inside, the wide rimmed collar. Often paired with a tricorder on a leather shoulder strap, this jacket was seen most prominently in the Wrath of on in the search for Spock, though one made a cameo appearance in the Undiscovered Country. According to Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise, written by Laura Johnson in 1987, this jacket contained a transponder that would theoretically let the starship know when the wearer was lost. This jacket was often paired with an excursion-style vest. Admiral, later Captain Kirk, wore at least 2 variations of this vest between the Wrath of Khan and Generations. Number 13, Ad Astra per Aspera dress uniform, late 2250s, early 2060s.
I like this uniform when it appeared in that episode. It looks really good.
Look, I kind of like it.
It's a new and interesting take
Yeah.
on the classic original series dress uniform.
Yeah. For Strange New World's second season episode, Ad Astra per Aspera, costume designer Bernadette Croft created an updated dress uniform, one that chronologically appears before those seen in Journey to Babel, Court Martial, and the Counterclock Incident. Aren't they missing one because isn't the dress uniform also featured in Captain Pike Found Alive?
What?
The original series?
Captain Pike?
Oh no, that is the episode Court Martial. Fuck me, never mind.
Yeah.
I thought that episode was just called Found Alive. Never mind. Fuck me, that's different. This new design, worn by regular officers and flag officers alike, retains the gold collar and piping while adding gold epaulets and sleeve stripes. Standard officers wore their division colors: gold for command, blue for science and medical, and red for security and operations, while flag officers wore black. A further variant appeared a year earlier, worn by cadets. Then Cadet Nyota Ahura wore one to dinner in Captain Pike's quarters, not realizing it was a more casual affair.
Oh yeah, no. Ahura got a little bit hazed. It was funny.
Oh no.
Well, it was when she was a cadet and first came to the Enterprise.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, okay, yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. Number 12, Starfleet standard uniforms, late 2250s to the early 2260s. In a period of rapid change, Starfleet introduced another uniform variation in the 2259, although the events of among the Lotus Eaters suggest it was available as early as 2254. This was similar to the Constitution class variant introduced in Brother, though it removed the asymmetrical collar and zipper for a more comfortable design. Unlike the uniform shown prior, this seems to have gone into wide use. The crews of the Enterprise and Cayuga both wore the style, as did Montgomery Scott, who was assigned to the solar research vessel USS Stardiver. This uniform retained the delta on the left breast seen in Discovery's second season, though it moved the rank insignia to the sleeve cuffs. A delta pattern was added from the shoulders running down the length of the sleeves. Gold, blue, red, and white remained the department colors, although Dr. Benga had another variant, light blue, with a chest flap that could be opened. The Enterprise was also equipped with the tactical field uniforms, retaining the body armor introduced in Discovery. A new gray field jacket was also available, bearing the individual ship's path on the left shoulder.
Another modern take on a 60s classic.
Right. Number 11, this uniform I would at least be in the top 10. Sorry, not sorry. Me and number 11. Kind of insulting, but Starfleet uniforms mid-2260s, aka the original series uniform, designed by William Ware Thesis.
Thies?
Or Thies. Thies, yeah. William Ware Thies, Thies, something like that. The uniform seen from Man Trap onwards, with variations, marked the distinctive visual style of early Star Trek.
So the reason they say seen from the Man Trap onwards, the Man Trap was the first episode to actually air on September 6, 1966.
Right.
It was not the pilot episode where no man was gone.
Where they wore that god-awful looking sweater thing.
I like the sweaters. Don't knock the sweaters.
Those things look like they would, like, make you break out in hives if you had the smallest irritation.
Okay, granted, but I still like the way they looked. Like, I do like that early uniform. I really do.
I mean, it's okay. To me, it's okay. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I just call it god awful because I know if I were to wear that, I'd look as red as Santa Claus's suit by the time I took that damn thing off.
You look as red as Santa Claus's ass.
Right. Fies explained in Star Trek Costumes 5 Decades of Fashion from the Final Frontier by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman that the bright green, blue, and red colors were picked for simple reasons. They stood out well on camera, which was especially important in an era where many televisions were still in black and white. The often discussed green versus gold uniforms, it was the dress just years earlier, were lime green in reality, though photographed gold. This explains the apparent discrepancy with the dress uniforms, as though science, medical, and operations security remain the same color. Command switches to an obvious green. These uniforms had rank insignia on the sleeve cuffs, though they did away with the delta patterning from shoulder to cuff. The assignment delta was still on the left breast, which in the early days of Star Trek was ship-specific, which we have also talked about, and one of my favorite things from the original series.
Yep.
The standard delta was originally unique to the USS Enterprise, though this has been retconned in the years since. This version of the uniform also featured a dress variant for female officers. Both versions came with high leather boots, while the standard duty uniform also had pants that fell as far as the calf. Star bases had their variations on these uniforms, leaning more closely to the versions from the mid-2250s. Cadets of Starfleet Academy also had their own version, more silver in color with a bright shining material.
Made out of sequin or something.
Yeah. Number 10 pisses me off. Number 10 should be number 2.
Well, you're going to like
100%. Are you looking at the article, though?
Uh-huh. No, I've got the article pulled up in front of me. I'm looking at the same thing you are.
Number 10 should be number 2, right? Like 100%.
Not with this list, it shouldn't.
Not with this list. Okay, I guess I'll trust the list.
I get with you'll. I really like the way I've looked ahead. I really like the way this list turns out. You maybe not so much.
Fair enough. Well, this one should at least be in the top 5. Definitely shouldn't be number 10. It shouldn't be bare minimum top 10. The Starfleet bomber jacket mid 2280s. Fuck off. It's the best one. It's the best one. Like, I love the Monster Maroon, but this. When I first saw the Monster Maroons and I first saw the bomber jacket, I knew I had to have one. I've always wanted one. Now I've got 2 of them. I have one for command. I have one for engineering. And sure as shit, trust and believe, I'll have one in every god color available. I love the bomber jackets. So higher ranking officers were given the option to wear a casual suede jacket. This bomber style jacket retained the overall idea of the Monster Maroons, though it eschewed the double-breasted design. Rank insignia were still displayed on the shoulder strap, now minus the clasp, and the left sleeve cuff. A silver buckle fastened the jacket at the bottom, while the actual cuffs appeared to be made from leather-like material. As with most uniform designs, the brass delta was positioned on the left breast. Fleet Admiral Morrow wore the first of these jackets to be seen in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock, which was followed by an almost identical jacket worn by Captain Kirk, as well as an Operations Division variant, evidenced by the color change on the shoulder strap worn by Captain Scott.
Now, I definitely think the next uniform should have been, like, these next 2 should be flip-flopped, because I didn't like this uniform, probably not as much as you do, but yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I would put this uniform, I'm looking at it now, I'd put this uniform in the top 10 for sure, But
See, it
let's
would
go
not
back
be-
to number 16.
It would not be
Yeah,
in
go
the
down-
top 10.
Scroll down to number 16, because I saw number 16, which is the original
okay.
series colors version of this uniform,
Yeah,
which I love a hell of a lot more. I love this
That one would
uniform
be
in the
number
original series
11.
colors.
for me. It wouldn't make my top 10, to be quite honest.
Still wouldn't make your top 10. I think those would be 10 and 9 for me, personally.
Fair enough.
Maybe 11 and 12, but I mean, they'd be up there. They'd be up there, definitely in the top 15.
I just wasn't quite as big a fan of these particular uniforms.
Fair enough. Starfleet standard two-piece uniform, mid-2230s to 2250s. Star Trek Discovery introduced several uniform variants in this debut season, including those shown first aboard the USS Shinzo. Designed by Gersha Phillips, these uniforms were a departure from those seen in the original series and beyond. Brian Fuller's original idea for Discovery would have been closer to the uniforms seen aboard the Enterprise in the 2260s, but Phillips believed that those uniforms didn't resonate in the modern day. She incorporated contemporary designs into these uniforms, something that both made life easier and added new challenges. She described each uniform as being perfectly fitted to each performer, including the outerwear seen most often, and the underwear saved for more personal scenes. Vision colors were once again updated, though command remained gold. Silver and copper were used for separation divisions. And I'm going to add something here consecutively. So science was silver, operations was copper. For those of you that did not know, but of course we are going to get more in depth into that when we get to Discovery. Captain's uniforms differed by adding additional slim piping between the shoulder and asymmetrical neck, a Fuller mandated design choice, though Phillips was hired after Fuller's departure. This uniform came with many variants. Flag officers, starbase officers, specialized science officers, and prisoners all had their versions of the uniform, while away teams were given tactical vests to wear over their chests to deflect more weapons. Klingon mechas were seemingly unavailable for testing. Pants worn over shorts with high boots were also an option on board the Shinzo and Discovery. Unlike later uniforms, the rank insignia was displayed on Starfleet Delta. Still worn on the left, new cadet level Delta was seen in Discovery, most often worn by then Cadet Sylvia Tilly.
See, and that was one of my problems with that uniform. Is it removed going back to the original series that we were talking about earlier, it retconned that each ship has its own logo. And I did not like that one bit.
Fair enough. That, and for me, I will say the one thing I don't like about the Discovery uniform is putting the ranking insignia on the Delta.
I mean, I liked that at first, but then I was like, well, it would make more sense to have it more in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I'm with you on that. Like I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool touch, but going from pips more or less to striping never made sense.
Well, I mean, they technically had quote unquote pips in Enterprise, but I like the way they did those. Like those looked good because they weren't like round or anything like every other freaking Star Trek show. But they were like
my biggest thing is it's just hard to see.
Yeah,
because their Delta is considerably smaller than some of the others that we've seen, and so it's hard to see what rank everyone is until they give you that close-up shot. And that's one of the things I like about Star Trek is, depending on the show, you can tell who everybody's rank is because you can see their rank very clearly on them. But again, I did like it, but there are just slight problems with it.
Sure.
Number 8 is Flag Officer Uniform, 33rd Century.
This one's okay.
Which looks like the Discovery uniform just turned fucking red.
I mean,
Um,
eh.
what? I. It's. I don't know. Let me read into this. Hold on. For Admiral Michael Burnham, there was never a dull moment. Having traveled with her son back to Starfleet, she was assigned to see Zora and the defeated USS Discovery off for their final mission. For this scene, a new Admiral's uniform was designed that incorporated elements of the original Gersha Phillips uniforms for Season 1. Flag officers retained gold bars on their shoulders, now adding those same bars to the sleeve cuffs. The rank insignia were displayed across the front of the neck, split into two. An updated delta took its usual place on the left breast, while a belt was added around the waist. This uniform was also two-tone in color, while still command red overall.
Yeah, it's not a great uniform.
It has potential, but I just don't. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah.
Interesting. But okay, on to number 7. Monster Maroon, alternate Federation Romulan War era.
This is the Monster Maroon
from Strange New Worlds. Right. Okay, so this is the first time, everyone, I have not seen Strange New Worlds. Y'all know this. I mean, I'm sure you do. You've heard it multiple times. I have not seen it. This is the first time I'm seeing this uniform on Ansem now, on the show. Now, John has shown me his uniform that he has. I have seen it on the website, buy uniforms from. It looks great.
It does.
I love this. I absolutely love it.
In that particular episode, it was like seeing an old friend that you haven't seen in 20 years. And it was great to see it.
I will say the leather on the sleeves is a bit, takes a minute to get used to.
Well, and it's not 100% leather either. It's like little stamp designs.
Yeah. But it takes a minute to get used to, but I do, again, this uniform, the Monster Maroon, just the best uniform. Okay. The uniform introduced in Strange New Worlds episode Equality of Mercy is a variation of the Monster Maroon uniform in use from the mid-2270s into the 24th century. Costume designer Bernadette Croft took inspiration from those uniforms first seen in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, updating them to bring them more in line with the current uniforms of 2259. They retained the chest flap, shoulder strap, the wrist strap, now adding the delta pattern from the Strange New Worlds duty uniforms. The delta on the left breast was a direct reproduction of those introduced in the film, as was the belt.
Yep.
One key difference between this alternate version of the uniform and those seen in the Wrath of Khan is the Admiral's gold piping that is missing from the black border of the chest flap. And I did notice that. He is wearing an Admiral uniform here, and he doesn't have the gold.
Something you might also notice on that flap on the chest, it extends down, like that shoulder strap extends a little bit down, and it's angled more down, whereas the regular ones just went straight across from the collar. Right, that and yeah. Not a complaint, just an interesting change.
But again, I think it works. This uniform works. It is a beautiful uniform for recreation of, as you put it, an old friend that we love so dearly. Yeah. Here we are, number 6. This uniform would be a little higher for me other than number 6. But we have the Starfleet standard uniform, mid-2360s to the early 2370s, a.k.a. the Next Generation uniform.
The uniform that we are currently
of the third season all the way up. For the Next Generation's third season, Robert Blackman adapted William Warathis's early designs, creating a new two-piece uniform to be worn by the primary cast. This was in conjunction with the first and second season jumpsuits, which were still used in the third season by extras. The early version of the updated look had a distinctive pair of lines down the chest. though these were quickly removed as the show went on. In Ensign Row, this new uniform was shown to have an undetectable fastening in the front, revealing a division-specific undershirt beneath. For the next generation, Command and Operations Security had swapped colors, so the captain now wore red, while the security chief engineer, wore gold. Medical staff and sciences still wore blue. This uniform remained in service for the rest of the 2360s and could be seen in use in the 2370s, though it was gradually phased out in preference for the new gray-black uniforms introduced in Star Trek First Contact. Several variations were seen as other timelines popped up. In yesterday's Enterprise, the standard duty uniform was revised, adding an equipment belt, black cuffs to the sleeves, and a higher collar. This snuck into the Prime timeline as Geordi LaForge is seen wearing one of the episode's clothes.
Yeah. It was
Number 5.
Kind of an oopsie.
Yeah. But, oopsie, honestly. All right, number 5, Starfleet uniform, Kelvin Timeline 2263, the recreation, Kelvin Timeline, original series uniform. Oh shit, my thing just went down. I gotta scroll all the way back down to that.
Anyway.
I absolutely love this uniform. I think this was a beautiful take on it. It's a great uniform. The uniforms of Star Trek Beyond were designed by Sanjay Milkovich. Hayes returning to Trek after working on Star Trek Insurrection for both Chris Pine and Carl Urban. Her designs were an improvement on Kaplan's uniforms from the first 2 films. They were both interviewed by Collider in 2016, with Pine commenting. The pants were fantastic this time. He also explained that this version of Kirk's uniform was closer in theme to that seen in the original series, as it was in mustard green color rather than the bright yellow seen previously. Urban particularly singled out another aspect of Milkovich Hayes' designs. The women in Starfleet uniforms in Star Trek Beyond all had rankings on their uniforms.
Yep, and that was a big difference from what we'd seen before, because the short sleeves, there were no ranks.
Right. But yeah, when it comes to the Kelvin Timeline uniforms, don't get me wrong. Into Darkness and Star Trek, I loved those uniforms. They were great. They looked awesome. But when it came to Beyond, they'd done it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
They had done it. They nailed it. I love these uniforms so much more than any other variation of an original series uniform, any other take on the original series uniform. This is my favorite one.
Me personally,
Other than
I
the
like
original
the Strange New Worlds take on it, but yeah.
But see, I haven't seen that yet, so I will remain this way until I see Strange New Worlds. I will update if necessary.
And going back to that, you might not notice it in the show, but the Strange New Worlds, so you know how they have the little patterning on them, right?
Right.
Each department color, the patterning, like the little patterning on it, is the symbol of each of those departments. So Command, Operations, and Sciences.
Okay,
and Medical has a little cross.
That sounds cool.
Instead of
Delta
I'm gonna
have to look for that. Yeah. Number 4, I personally would put this a little lower, but I do like it. Flag Officer Variations, mid-2270s. Star Trek The Motion Picture shows Admiral Kirk in several uniform variants. The first and the one that inspired the Flag Officer uniforms in Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness is the collared white and gray 2-piece uniform. This bears epaulets on the shoulders, a Perscan device over the abdomen, a delta on the left breast, and a rank insignia on the sleeve cuffs. The second variant is a simple short-sleeved white tunic, seen when Kirk meets Spock and Poi in the recreation deck. After this, Kirk slips into a standard light blue service uniform. Costume designer Robert Fletcher said in the February 1980 issue of Fantastic Films that the various uniforms were inspired by the then contemporary Navy uniforms, and that there were several variants available there. Number 3 should be a hell of a lot higher. It is my overall number 2 in behind the Monster Maroons. Number 3, the standard duty jumpsuits 2370s, 2380s.
Quick pause. I'm going to say that these next 3 are probably about exactly the same as my personal rankings.
Okay.
And you'll see why. Continue.
Oh, I'm just talking about a burger. All right. Damn it, come on, 2, bitch. There we go. Robert Blackman returned to Star Trek once again in Star Trek First Contact, designing a new, darker uniform. This time to appear better on a big screen, while also suiting director Jonathan Frakes' color palette for this later iteration. These gray shouldered jumpsuits were similar in design to the previous uniform seen on Deep Space Nine and Voyager, though they swapped the division colors underneath the main jumpsuit onto the undershirts. Several variations of these uniforms were seen throughout their lifespan. Captains could opt for a jacket over a jumpsuit, something Captain Sisko often opted for, while Sisko and Picard were seen sporting a vest similar to the vest seen under the Monster Maroon. Made from a similar material, like Ro Lauren's magically unfastening jumpsuit, Commander Kira was seen with a surprise jacket and tacking into the wind. Despite making contact with Starfleet in 2374, the USS Voyager did not adopt these uniforms, retaining the standard jumpsuit from the early 2370s. Number 2 should be number 1. 100% should be number 1. Monster Maroon, late 2270s to the early 2350s, the 80-year-old uniform. Costume designer Robert Fletcher returned to work on the Wrath of Khan, working with new director Nicholas Meyer on the so-called Monster Maroons. This is the
apocryphal.
Apocryphal, yeah, that word. Name given to this style of uniform by fans as they are so difficult to reproduce. The uniform consists of the double-breasted maroon jacket over a division-specific undershirt. The ribbing on the collar and cuffs of the undershirt was a style of vertical quilting called trapunto.
Yeah.
Trapunto.
Sure.
Yeah. This was already a rare technique at the time, which itself caused issues and stress among the design team. These uniforms were more or less standard, though female officers could opt for a skirt. Flag officers were given a gold trim along the black clasp of the jacket, as well as an additional gold piping along the sleeve and pant.
Yep.
The belt introduced into the Wrath of Khan was gradually phased out. The crew of the USS Enterprise C, lost in 2345, had abandoned it along with the ribbed undershirt. They also had phased out the handheld communicators, instead using the brass delta on the left breast as would become standard for the late 2340s onward. As evidenced by the crew of the USS Bozeman, these uniforms came into service by 2278 and remained standard until at least 2349, as seen in Jack Crusher's holographic message to Wesley in the episode Family. And number 1 would probably be my number 3. Starfleet Standard Flag Officer variant, John's favorite uniform, ladies and gentlemen, the mid-23. Costume designer Christine Clark created the new Starfleet uniform that is first seen clearly in The End is the Beginning. The Flag Officer uniform is almost identical to the standard uniform, with an added gold band encircling the shoulders and division colors extending along the torso. All officers wore their rank insignia on the collar, both sides for flag officers, and their comm badge on the left breast. The uniform was designed to give audiences a sense of elegance, according to Clark, when interviewed on the Ready Room. Star Trek Prodigy executive producer, head writer for Season 2, Aaron Walke, addressed the apparent crossover issue teasing audiences that these uniforms were in service during the events of Prodigy. They finally appeared in the last to date episode, Arborist Part 2. So, that is your top 15, ladies and gentlemen. Next episode, we come back. We're going to finish this out. I'm going to see where some of my other favorite uniforms are at and how far down they are.
We kind of went off on a tangent this episode and really covered seasons.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it. We'll get there.
Right. You know,
we'll get there eventually. It'll be okay.
Seasons 4 and 5, Next Generation were great seasons. Seasons that I think, honestly, again, a lot of people say that Season 3 was the best season. I think Season 4 would be number 2 for me. For, you know, in how well those seasons were. Season 5 was great. But this iteration of Star Trek, Next Generation, with these two seasons, Seasons 4 and 5 have officially outdone the original series. The only thing this Enterprise crew needs is a few movies to set it apart. And, well, we're going to get to those, but give us a couple episodes. Let's get back to the ship, shall we?
Sounds like a plan.
Kitty Hawk. 2 to be mom. 3 to be mom. I forgot I have Vixet with me.
But yeah, no, like I said, those 3 probably match my top.
Your top 3. I would move 2 and 3 up to 1 and 2 and move number 1 down to 3, but that's me.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. In the words of the great Mr. Scott, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Where are you at?
Me? I'm heading to my bridge.
Oh, okay.
As per the usual.
Okay, because I never even saw your ship appear, so I was like, where the hell did he go?
Yeah, no, I loaded in and I immediately went to my bridge.
Okay. But I am curious, though. I'm still not going to read this till next Thursday, but I'm very curious to see how this whole thing plays out. One of the uniforms they have on.
Like what?
On this
oh, like what other ones are
this
on
article? There? Yeah. I'm not going to read it until we get to till next week. I'm going to keep it right here on what we're 65,
something like that,
or 63. We're on 63. So I'm going to keep it there and revisit this next week with you guys. I'm not going to read ahead because again, I thoroughly want to be surprised. We thank you guys. We know this is a short episode, and you can thank the game for that, for crashing. We'll try to. We'll see. Hopefully next week this is all. The bug is gone. Whatever is causing this issue is gone. We can get it fixed.
One can
continue on. If not, we'll work. We'll make a workaround. We'll make it happen.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But again, thank you guys for joining us. We love y'all very much. This is Captain Yarbrough, Captain Chris, signing out.
This is Captain Hudson, signing out.
Helm, plot a course. Second start to the right.